logging in.
Maybe he could try calling.
That's what I'm trying to do.
All right, we are set, Alder Taft.
Okay, fantastic. I am just trying to access my I'm just trying to access my agenda, but that's fine. Well, it is 5:30, so we will get started with the meeting. And so I officially call this meeting to order, which means the first item of business is to, I believe, approve the minutes from our last meeting. Oh, wait, first is the roll, right? Wait, we have to do roll call first, right? Sorry, I'm still trying to get to my agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the roll first, please. That would be delightful.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, Chair Alder Taft,
Here.
Alder Young,
Present.
Alder Miedema,
Here.
Alder West. Oh, did we lose Alder West?
Here.
All right, and Alder Tate.
Present.
Perfect.
Great. Okay, now we can approve the minutes. A motion would be in order at this time to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
Moved by Alder Young. I believe that was that seconded by Alder West?
Correct.
Okay, fabulous.
Thank you.
Any discussion on this item? Okay, seeing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to our next item. Item number 899-20. Felicia, if you please.
All right. We have a communication by President Tate II requesting a report from WRTP/Big Step on compliance monitoring with the Racing Works ordinance and to schedule quarterly reports of the same for the year 2021. Staff recommendation, there's none at this time and no fiscal notes. And we have...
Yep, representatives, right?
Correct. So we have a few of them. We have Matt Waltz.
You're in trouble.
Matt Waltz, are you there?
I am. Good evening.
Good evening. Will you be the main speaker on this, or?
I think actually John Anderson will be.
John Anderson, all right. John, are you there?
I am. You got me unmuted now? Can you hear me, everyone?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Fabulous. I see Alderman President Tate there nodding in affirmation. So very good.
Yes, please, if you'd like to comment, please proceed.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for having us here. Based on some forward comments I received regarding to this report, I have prepared something for you all. And so, so starting off with your update, in July of 2020, WRTP Big Step and the city staffers, we began meetings to solidify and develop our internal and external processes for the execution and oversight of the RWP program, which included the creation of the RWP certification and/or affidavit, reporting templates, guidelines, and program-specific literature. In August of 2020, we received our fully executed contract from the city and began certifying eligible city residents and conducting outreach to the contractor community. Currently, as of today, the number of individuals who have been RWP certified is 37. 22 of them have found employment. 7 were grandfathered in as they were currently working on projects, but they otherwise qualified. 4 are in the process of being hired by a contractor. 4 are still looking for work. And we have 8 people in the queue who are currently completing certification process with Amber Waltz, our program coordinator. In regards to community outreach, In October of 2020, our outreach coordinator began outreaching to stakeholders and communities at large. During the time frame of October 2020 to December, he conducted or attended approximately 18 meetings or events where the RWP program was highlighted or mentioned. Contractor and stakeholder information sessions. On December 3rd of 2020, we held our first RWP informational session, which received an overwhelmingly positive response from the contracting community and city staffers. And so with that, we've continued to organize subsequent informational events. You all should have been provided some attachments by Kathleen and or Monica. One will be a flyer that indicates that the next upcoming information sessions will be January the 28th, which is I think this week, and February 18th. Moving on, just to give you a snapshot of some of the attendees of the pre-information sessions. We've had 16 union contractors, 7 non-union contractors, and 15 different stakeholders or CBOs, community-based organizations, who have participated in the information sessions. And I did provide, I forwarded a list to Monica and Kathleen that they can provide for you should you want to have a little more information about who these contractors are and or community-based organizations also. Ongoing training and collaboration continues. WRTP Big Step continues to provide pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship skills training services to the City of Racine residents through our facility at the Gateway campus and to other interested partners. In addition, I would like to add that we have reached out directly to First Choice Peer Apprenticeship Program, which to our knowledge is the only other authorized peer apprenticeship service provider there in Racine, to ensure that we are working with them collaboratively to get all of their graduates RWP certified and or share any job orders. That's what we refer to. If a contractor calls us up and says they're looking for a person of a varying background and we don't have someone in our training queue, a graduate, we directly send that information to First Choice, as we know them being the only other entity that would more than likely have an individual on the labor field. So we share that with them directly to respond. In addition, WRTP Big Step, our staff, along with Monica Santos and Kathleen Fisher, and of course Shannon, continue to work very closely together, identifying and managing any needed nuances in the daily delivery and oversight of the RWP program as they may arise, with the intentionality of always keeping in the forefront the spirit and the goal of this program, which is to reduce unemployment by creating work opportunities for Racine residents and retaining jobs for the residents through the imposition of this requirement. With that, that convenes my report. You have some additional attachments which describe for you in detail how the process works, when the additional information sessions are. You should have had a copy of the actual job order form that we use with contractors. And also there's a flyer that really explains the process from someone from the business community. With that, I'll take any questions that you might have.
I am looking at my participants list, and I am going to call on Alder Tate first. Alder Tate, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If we could just repeat the names who we have on the phone call as representatives for this communication.
I apologize. My name is John Anderson. I am the site director for WRTP's Racine location, and I am the director of programs and partnerships for W.
Great. Well, great. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
All right. Well, first, I just want to say thank you, Mr. Anderson, for joining us this evening and sharing an update with what's happening with the contract that we let last year for WRTP Big Step to conduct monitoring of our Racine Works program. So it sounds like so far much of what your effort has been is kind of creating that pathway and establishing that pipeline of employees so that the various contractors who are contracting with the city can have a place to tap into so they can be in compliance. Which is certainly, I understand that needs to be the groundwork laid in order to fulfill our mission, and that's what we want to see happen. I am interested in knowing kind of what does the monitoring process look like from your end once these contracts are, once this year's contracts are let and they are under Racine Works program? What does that look like from WRTP? And what sort of reports? Obviously, part of this communication is expecting quarterly reports. So I am interested in knowing what those are going to look like in the future.
Excellent question, sir. So I would say first and foremost that the documents that should have been shared in advance with you, which explain what the process for certification is, what the RWP certification itself is as it relates to the ordinance, and any other supporting documents are now being included with bid documents so that the contracting community is getting advance notice and understanding with the knowledge that they can contact us for technical support or work directly with the city purchasing agent if they have any particular questions or things that need to get sorted out. We have the city, Monica and Kathleen worked very hard to develop a reporting system in Excel, which we keep in a Dropbox, where we're able to list individuals whom have certified, contractors who we have engaged with. They have also developed a certified payroll and reporting system, which will be transferred to us, and maybe transfer is not the right word, shared with us so that we can then go in and first and foremost, look at the certified payroll and time reports to identify whom they are stating are their RWP certified individuals. Our plan then is to verify or re-verify the addresses of those individuals. Now, assuming that we certified them, we should already know, it should be pretty easy. But if we were to see some new name pop up, we could use the city's website and the other tools that's been provided to us graciously by the city to double down and verify that person does fall within the city of Racine and met the criteria of being unemployed or underemployed at the time of certification. As you stated before, those reports are due on a regular occurring basis, and so that process is in place, and we're kind of really just getting started with that. We've been doing a little back and forth and tweaking to make sure if there was anything that we felt was important, especially scenarios where it may be a specialized craft area, and the possibility, and I say this with the most seriousness I can because I don't like to, the possibility of a waiver may arise. We've done our due diligence to look ahead and find, is this an actual specialty craft area, or is it a scenario where there just is no such person certified? Is there an alternate solution where they could have a laborer? Through our reporting mechanism and our communication, we've been able to really also key in on some of these factors. I think the great thing about working with Kathleen and Monica is that we're kind of learning as we go, and we're tweaking things and we're communicating. It feels like daily, and I say that with happiness, on as things arise so that we can determine, what is the best course of action. And then again, we always put in the forefront, what is the spirit and the intentionality of the ordinance? It's not to make excuses, it's to make opportunities for City of Racine residents. And so with that, we go to great lengths to ensure that we've tapped all resources. I hope I didn't prattle on too much, but that would be your answer, President.
Thank you. That's fine. Thank you. I'll yield for now.
Next I saw Alder Young. So Alder Young, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Mr. Anderson, I really appreciate your thorough report. I have a question about goal setting. So obviously the overarching goal of Racine Works and the partnership we have with your organization is to ensure that we combat underemployment and unemployment. Could you talk about, how you've determined goals in terms of how many Racine residents participate in the program and if you're meeting your goals?
Yes, thank you. So as in relationship to goal setting, that is incumbent upon the city when they are letting, or I should say, putting something out for bid. So we are just trying to be responsive as, and hopefully we hope to attend pre-bid meetings. We have found that that gives us the ability to get in front of the contractors at the time to really identify if there will be any shortfalls. But I will cite one example for you, which is a real-time example. There's a contractor that does mostly trucking. And so they're looking for CDL drivers. And so in the communication I had with this business owner, they're like, well, currently there is no pre-apprenticeship or apprenticeship program for truck drivers. And so how can we manage this? And I said, well, that's a fine question. As you may or may not know, one of the trainings we run, which is our road building training program, which is really was born in partnership with the Department of Transportation to create a labor pool of ready-to-work individuals for road construction contractors. One of the components of that training is that individuals get their CDL Class B permit with air brakes. And so what we're doing right now is we're internally having a discussion. Do we have anyone who we've trained now who we could refer to this employer who could maybe take them further and complete any additional training they might need to facilitate them having a person in that position? Or could we create a specialized training to meet that need? Because we don't, again, we know it's a special circumstance, but it's not so special that we don't think there isn't someone in the city of Racine who could be eligible. We just may need to do a little work. We need to think outside the box or create something. So that's one example that I would cite for you as where we're trying to be innovative to get ahead of things and address scenarios. Obviously, as we provide our pre-apprenticeship training program, we have instituted that all participants of that who are eligible become RWP certified as well to go into that pool. So right now, I would say we don't have, 37 people, it's not 100, but it's a start. And as we encounter what I would call special things, when I say special, I mean just something kind of out of the ordinary. We're trying to be innovative and help to come up with a solution versus, the latter of, well, I guess, nobody's going to get a job today. You can just get the person from Illinois and, that defeats the purpose. So we are proactively taking an approach to helping to do what we can to build up the local workforce, labor force. And again, working in partnership with First Choice, trying to make sure, because we know, or we assume, that they would have a crop of individuals ready to go as well, which would then additionally expound that pool of individuals.
Mr. Anderson. Yes, it does. Thank you. I appreciate that. And just a final question on my end. I know the Academies of Racine have made a pre-apprenticeship program a priority for students in Racine Unified School District. Is there a working relationship between your organization and the Academies of Racine?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, sir. Yes, and actually, I have reached out to the Academies of Racine. As well as the Racine Unified School District. We're working in partnership with them as one of our community partners to, one, we want to address these high school seniors who are about to graduate and try to get them into the pipeline of a registered apprenticeship as a family supporting career, and also working currently with those in the academies to see what can we do in relationship to helping the academies, and kind of conversely, predominantly the contractors that we work with through our Southeast Construction Steering Committee, many of them have a requirement of doing youth outreach. And so we're kind of backing into it at the same time and trying to have everyone meet in the middle, where we're engaging the contracting community and the school system to be congruently getting these young people into a family supporting career.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Are there any other questions? I see a hand from Alder Tate. Please proceed, Alder Tate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess one of the questions, I know it was touched on, the outreach piece, and obviously your role is outreach. I just interested in knowing, more about the specific efforts to reach the underemployed City of Racine residents and kind of what beyond the existing organizations, tapping into those, what perhaps creative strategies are being employed to reach individuals, because many organizations have been around Racine for a long time. Unemployment has remained what it is, and that's not to say that their efforts aren't doing anything, but certainly we need to think outside the box and do other things, because there's continues to remain a significant segment of our population that remains out of reach from these existing institutions. So with your efforts to kind of build that base so that the contracting community knows that you're a resource to say, okay, well, Racine's got this in place that we got to meet, but where are they at? What are the kind of strategies that are being employed to, bring people in? Because I know, just looking at one of the flyers here, it talks about, how does someone know? Well, I think certification process, individuals who believe they qualify will contact WRTP Big Snap as the first step. I'm curious as to, is that a both ways sort of thing? Are we trying to identify people who might qualify, as opposed to just hoping that somebody hears about this or reaches out?
Well, yes, sir, President Tate. That's a very acute question. And so let me first mention the organizations, and then I'll back into that answer. So just to cite the organizations who we have shared this information with, and additionally invited them to attend the information sessions. Although we do convene our CBOs typically on a monthly basis, but beyond that, specific to this initiative, we have engaged them in trying to make them a part of this. And so just to give you an example, there's Racine Academy's First Choice Peer Apprenticeship, Legal Action Wisconsin, Racine Vocational Ministries, Racine Kenosha Community Action, Uplift 900, UMOS of Racine, the YWCA of Southeast Wisconsin, Racine Literacy Council, Literacy Services of Wisconsin, Racine Unified School District, Southeastern Wisconsin Workforce Development Board, Racine County, Alero Learning, and the Racine Workforce Solutions. Now, backing into your statement, we've also been working with Equus, which is formerly known as ResCare, to try to advertise and promote the skills training, along with obviously the related community certifications to individuals who are currently engaged in the food share and employment training program. As we know, many people who utilize that as a resource are those who are most affected by being unemployed and underemployed. And so working collaboratively with, I guess what in the day we would have called our W-2 organization, but working with our partner through Equus, we are doing outreach directly to that specific affected population. And we are also promoting vis-a-vis our website, social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the city's web and social media pages as well.
Okay. I guess that's kind of the sticking point for me a bit when we talk about kind of outreach, kind of who's doing it and what's being done. Because I know a lot of organizations, city included, say, well, we'll put it up on the website, and that's, quote, outreach. But I'm wondering, has Big Step taken any particular steps, or, at least coordinated with the city with perhaps identifying people within the community who, might have a line to communities, to groups, to segments, cohorts, demographics of the city, who don't check websites, who aren't connected to, W-2. I'm thinking of formerly incarcerated populations. I'm thinking of, folks who've had careers in non-traditional pathways, let's say, and don't know that these opportunities exist, but perhaps are looking for, a more legitimate means of sustaining themselves and their family. And I'm wondering kind of where is the end there? Because a lot of these initiatives, whether they're employment or health or education related, seem to work around the populations that need to be identified, as opposed to directly into the populations that are identified. To cut to the quick, I'm wondering if, you as an organization have hired anybody based in this community, with connections to this community, with connections to the populations that are prime for reaching, but cannot be reached outside of those particular connections?
So, President Tate. So I was trying to be, I suppose, tactful, mindful of everyone's position and relationship, but I'm sure it's probably not a secret. So as you may or may not know, our head of community outreach is actually Alder Horton. Alderman Maurice Horton actually really heads up our outreach division. He has reached out to the prisons, to the ex-offenders facility. We were working with Tom Mason. I heard he had a recent departure, but we're doing everything in the box and out the box. And I would say this, if you have any suggestions, recommendations, we would greatly appreciate those, and we would follow through on those 100%.
All right, great. Well, we'll touch base after the meeting then, perhaps, and go there. So
thank you.
Just
I appreciate
thank you for
that.
opening that particular door. All right, that's all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
You're muted.
Muted.
Very much for telling me about that. So the only person I see with a hand up is an attendee. Do we know this attendee, Matt Waltz? Was he on before?
Yeah, he's from Big
That's what I
Step.
thought. Okay,
Matt
so
Waltz-
Mr. Waltz, that's
Waltz,
what
are
I
you
thought
there?
in the beginning. Would you like to add something?
Sure. I think John answered most of it. So again, good evening, everybody. This is Matt Waltz. I'm the Chief Operating Officer with WRTP Big Step. Just a couple of quick details for some questions that were asked. Alder Young, I know it's hard to see without the cameras on, but I also sit on the Academies of Racine Steering Committee, and Maurice is on the ICE-T Committee. So we are very involved with RUSD and their academies model. So obviously any inroads anybody can provide there, access to more students to let them know about the careers and opportunities that exist. We would take any of you up on that, but we are very involved there. There was a question overall about goals and some of the back end compliance, and I just want to expand on what John said. I mean, this program, we envision this as not a way to sanction contractors for not meeting their hours. The idea is to be in front of that, to work with the contractors, to work with the projects, to identify what the goals are, what reasonable numbers are, and to work with them to actually get individuals in the community employed on those projects. So we really don't want to put goals up in front and then not meet goals. We would rather be here as really that helping hand to the contractors so that they know how to hire individuals in the community and really get them into what we believe is a great family sustaining occupation. And so that's what we're here to do. Instead of, again, sanction contractors for not hiring, how do we promote the opportunity for them to hire individuals?
Great. Actually,
Thank you for that. Do you have another question, Alder Tate?
yeah, I guess my last thing would be, and this perhaps is less about kind of WRTP's Big Steps efforts so far because a lot of it's front end work. But obviously we've had this ordinance in place for a little over a year and a half now, I believe. Just curious if Kathleen, I don't know, you had your hand up earlier, if you wanted to speak to perhaps what sort of, how we've been monitoring compliance up to this point and what that's looked like.
Sure. Thank you, Alder Tate. I was going to chime in. John did an excellent job as well, but we've worked really hard. Monica has. She should get all the credit. Developing an internal process for the city of Racine as well to work with these contractors to make it as easy for them to report to us and as easy for us to actually be able to identify how they're doing on a regular basis. What we learned going through this is that perhaps our internal process in the past for monitoring probably wasn't as good as it should have been. And it wasn't as timely probably as it should have been to help the contractors. So Now Monica's developed a really great spreadsheet that John spoke about a little bit, but the contractors are required to report monthly to us their payroll and how they're doing on their payroll, so that we can help them sooner than at the end of the project and all of a sudden we don't know that they haven't met the goals, right? So the contractors have been fantastic. I have personally talked to CG Schmidt multiple times. They're the general on the Jeffers project at Horlick. So they all want to obviously participate in this, meet these goals. It's just as important to them as it is to us, for sure. So we have put some really good things in place with the help of WRTP. You know, we looked at what Milwaukee was doing and did kind of this combination for us to be able to monitor this on a more regular basis. And when I say us, it's mostly Monica. So I just want to say that, you know, Monica's working really, really hard to develop a process where we can regularly monitor this. So we have several contracts that are just starting this new process. CG Schmidt and the Horlick project is probably the largest of those at this point. But we do continue to work with them on a regular basis, talk to them on a regular basis, and we'll know a little bit more in terms of metrics within the next quarter or so. So we're just kind of starting out. I don't have a ton of metrics on that yet.
Okay. Then, Madam Chair, I'd like to, at this point, kind of discuss, at least entertain a discussion amongst the alders, kind of what our expectations of the quarterly report would be. I know, and just kind of get others' thoughts, because that is part of the agenda. So I would hope that others would be interested in kind of having that quarterly report, but also identifying what we want on it and what we want to see, so that as that report is being generated, it's kind of hitting the points that we need to know of, so we can report back to our community, our constituents, our communities, say like, all right, here's what we're doing, here's how it's working, you know, and then we can ask the questions that are necessary to make sure it works the way that we intend it to, because a policy, you know, without product, if you would, is useless. So.
Yeah, I'm happy to entertain that discussion. I see Alder Young's hand up, so I will recognize Alder Young first, and then go from there.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank Alder Tate as well for making it clear the mission of this agenda item. I think, obviously, with the goal of the program being City of Racine residents moving from underemployment to full employment, moving from unemployment to full employment, that we have a clear, report regarding that. You know, where's the progress from those who are skilling up and having these types of contracted jobs, and having that come to this committee or coming to the city monthly.
All right. Additionally, I mean, I would certainly like to know the ongoing projects that qualify, or at least are under, either have committed to or are bound by Racine Works, to know what their current status is in terms of meeting that, whether it's the work hours percentage that is their current status, because I think they would want to know as well, since they've committed to it or are subject to it, but also so that we could know as we're going forward. And then obviously that would also inform the conversations between ourselves as the city and Big Step to say, okay, where are we at and where do we need to be, and you know, what needs to happen in order to ensure that we're meeting those goals, closing those gaps between what our benchmarks are as a city and what the current market, or at least what the current labor market is doing to fulfill those goals. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yep. No, thank you, Alder Tate. Alder West, I'm gonna take you next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To kind of piggyback on Alder Tate, I would like to see some sort of placement rates on those quarterly reports if possible.
Okay. That's good. Alder Young, your hand is next.
Yes, thanks. Thank you, Chair. I want to also thank Matt Waltz for his service on the steering committee for the Academies of Racine. And as we receive reports about the progress that's made, having a specific numbers regarding RUSD students and their participation, or recent RUSD graduates and their participation in the pre-apprenticeship programs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Looking at my list again. Alder Tate. Oh, hold on one sec. Alder West, your hand was still, is that still up or is that, okay, it's gone. Okay. Alder Tate, you're up next.
Yeah, I guess this is just for kind of clarity. I would certainly be interested in knowing how many unique individuals there are as well, because I certainly know that, you know, contract or laborers can go from contract to contract, and project to project. And while that might fulfill the particular goals for that, for meeting the expectation, I think, as we mentioned from the beginning, our general goal is to broaden and expand the labor market, ensuring that everyone. So as much as we'd be like, high five to the person who's getting, you know, job to job to job, great for them. We also want to see that distributed and expanded to, you know, obviously, as Alder Young mentioned, the underemployed or the unemployed. Because I think we have two things happening here. We have big step efforts to get people certified so that they can create that pool, but also we have our expectation of the contractors to hire people within a certain range, so that we can ensure that those dollars are going to City of Racine residents. So there's a bit of a gap there that we have to ensure that we're monitoring closely, and then adjusting accordingly. So.
Okay. Anybody else have anything they would like to add? Okay, I wanted to give Mr. Anderson and Mr. Waltz the opportunity to, does that make sense? Do you feel like you have clear expectations, and Mr. as well, do you have clear expectations of sort of what this committee would like to see for those quarterly reports?
Well, thank you. This is John Anderson. Yes, I'm known as a copious note taker, and I talk a lot. So once you guys get to know me, I'll talk your ear off. So I was trying to be keep it tight because I know you have more items to discuss. But I have taken note too, and I think I guess would appreciate if maybe Kathleen or Monica could capture those items, and we could work together to ensure that those go into the quarterly reports. But I echo all of your sentiments here, especially President Tate, the fact that we want to see individuals who would not have been probably normally connected to an opportunity such as this. And for us, the overarching goal is not a job, it's a career. And that means registered apprenticeship. That means someone who's on a career pathway, and this is a beginning for them and not a quick end. And they're not broom pushers, but they're productive individuals who are receiving some skills training and some opportunities. And so we are committed to that and appreciate your insights. And so any other ideas, any other metrics that you would like to see, if you could just share that with us, we'll do our best to make sure that we not meet your needs, but hopefully exceed them.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So the appropriate motion at this time would be to receive and file, I believe. Alder Tate, the second, please proceed.
I was going to ask what would be the, if I don't know if we just want to receive and file or make the motion that, you know, motion that reports are provided quarterly according to the metrics that were just described by the team or by the committee, excuse me.
I certainly would allow such a motion at this time.
All right.
I would second that.
If you can turn that into a motion.
That was the appropriate motion, yeah.
Okay, so I believe that would be a motion to direct the program to work with the city to produce quarterly reports, specifications discussed in the meeting, including number of participants, number of unique participants, the number of projects involved in the program, and the rate of participation in the program, and probably other folks have taken better notes than I, but that's what I recall. So that would be my interpretation of the motion at this time. Does that reflect your intention, Mr. Tate?
It does, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay. And Alder Young, does that accurately reflect your second?
Yes, it does, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right. And then any discussion on that motion at this time? I see a hand from Alder Tate, but I think it's a leftover hand.
That is a leftover hand.
Okay, so seeing no further discussion, let me just do a quick check. Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to our next item. So, sorry, I'm just toggling between that and the agenda. Okay, next item is 13-21. Take it away, Felicia.
All right, we have a communication sponsored by Alder Taft, a developer's agreement for TID number 4, phase 3A. Staff recommendation is to approve. Fiscal note, the developer, Village of Mount Pleasant, will pay for all costs associated with the new water main, including design and construction related costs. No costs incurred by the utility, with the water main being turned off to the utility as CIAC. And then I believe we have Mike Gitter here to speak on the item.
Okay.
Mike Gitter, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
All right,
for
you
those,
are recognized.
For those that don't know me, I'm Mike Gitter. I'm the interim general manager for water and wastewater. So the Village of Mount Pleasant has approached us. They wish to build a local water main as they're authorized to do by the retail water agreement. So what this developer's agreement would do would be really, it regulates the terms as to how the water main is constructed. So the developer, in this case, the village, they would build a water main to utility specifications. Then at the conclusion, the as-built drawings would be given to the utility. And then the water main asset would be turned over to utility as a contribution in aid of construction. And then the utility would perform future maintenance and upkeep on the water main for the time into the future. So it really doesn't regulate that the main be built. It really regulates how the main is constructed.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gitter. Are there any questions or comments for Mr. Gitter? Okay. Seeing none, a motion would be in order.
Move to approve.
Moved by Alder Miekma. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by, was that Alder West? Okay, yep. Great. Seconded by Alder West. Thank you. Any further discussion on this item? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to our next item. Thank you, Mr. Gitter. I believe this is also related to water. Motion 1421.
All right, this item, communication sponsored by Alder Taft, developers agreement for Christina Estates, edition number 1. Staff recommendation is to approve. Fiscal note, no costs incurred by the utility, with the water main being turned off to the utility as CIAC. The developer, Graceland LLC, will pay for the costs associated with the new water main, including design and construction related costs.
Yes, okay, this is a similar premise as the last developer's agreement. It's really the same thing, just a different project. This is a small subdivision, roughly 12 to 22 homes. There's a private developer, Graceland LLC, that wishes to put the main in and will pay for the cost to do so. At the end of the project, this main, after being constructed to our specifications, would be turned over to the utility as a contribution in aid of construction, and the utility will perform maintenance into the future.
Does anybody have any questions or comments for Mr. Gitter on this item? Okay, seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to approve.
Moved by Alder West. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Miekma. Thank you. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, a vote it's in order. So if you or please signify by saying aye at this time.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next item is item 66- oh, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. 65-21.
This is a communication sponsored by Alder Taft authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into a joint commercialization agreement with the Wisconsin Alumni Research Foundation, WARF, as required as part of the Racine Smart Transit and Autonomy Research Project approved by the Common Council on 7/21/2020 under resolution number 0454-20. Staff recommendation is to authorize the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with Wisconsin Alumni Foundation expiring on September 20th, 2022, and there is no fiscal note for this item.
Scott let me
Okay.
on the phone there.
Okay, so we have Mr. Letney to speak to this item. You are recognized.
Thank you, ma'am. I can speak to the contract, which I've reviewed, and except for just a quibble with a little bit of language, we're all set with the Wisconsin Alumni Association. I can't speak to the project. I don't know if someone else there can, but the council already approved the funding for this in July. This is just the contract to formalize the project that council already authorized.
Okay. Ms. Fisher, do you have something you wanted to add?
I do. William Martin is actually an attendee, so he can speak very eloquently on this item if the chair would so choose.
I would be happy to recognize Mr. Martin at this time.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Great, wonderful. Well, so you know that I think Attorney Letney just mentioned about the fact that you unanimously approved the contract with the University of Wisconsin-Madison College of Engineering. And that piece got us the ability to create intellectual property in the city limits. If you think about Invention City and the fact that we generated so many patents, the reason that it boomed in the city was because we were able to commercialize the intellectual property that was generated. So it's really two-pronged approach to generating economic development. This first piece that you already approved last summer got us the piece about advancing intellectual property. The second agreement, the one before you today, is really about ensuring that anything that is generated out of the research on the Smart Transit Autonomy Project is actually commercialized in Racine. So how it works is, Wisconsin Alumni Research Foundation is the prime arm of University of Madison to ensure that anything that is generated as intellectual property is commercialized. They are the partner that ensures the link with the private sector to get that done. This is the first occasion where the city of Racine is actually partnering with that link to ensure that we get the first option on trying to commercialize it in the city limits. It gives us a year to attempt to have it commercialized here with a Racine business, but it doesn't stop there. So it extends the agreement so that even if WARF a potential opportunity, it can still be commercialized here, and we're actually partnering with them, so we're equally involved throughout the entire process. This then would sunset in 2022, but there are opportunities to continue on. You may know that we've already supported University of Wisconsin-Madison College of Engineering and Gateway in seeking National Science Foundation grant dollars and U.S. Department of Transportation dollars to augment that research. And so these are the ways that we're trying to make sure that we not only get the intellectual property, but we commercialize it here and ultimately create jobs.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. I see two hands up. I don't know which one went first, so I will call on Alder Tate II first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess, appreciate Will always breaking things down and speaking eloquently to things. I'm going to come from a lay perspective here. Heard a lot of business jargon about commercializing intellectual properties. Can you provide an example or two about what that
love that.
What that means to the city, what that means to the community,
Yes.
so that the folks in the chairs as well as at home can understand what opportunities are before us right now.
President Tate, I am so excited about this that I volunteered to come back after my contract is over to talk about this issue, and I couldn't have asked for a better question. So I'll give you an example of the kinds of things that are possible. Everyone's talking about sustainability and electric vehicles, right? And even the city has already moved toward buying electric buses. The vehicle that we're looking for, the Smart Transit project, is an electric vehicle. But people perhaps haven't thought through, well, what are the logistics about supporting an electric fleet, right? So we're going to 9 buses. We've got 400 diesel or combustible engine vehicles in the overall fleet of the city. But as you move over to electric vehicles, this is just an example of the kinds of things that happen. We haven't talked about, well, who's training people to work on electric vehicle repair and maintenance, right? So there's a whole array of jobs that if you think about what Gateway teaches today, a completely different curriculum about how you maintain and repair those kinds of facilities. Even if you think about, we've talked about the need for chargers. Well, who installs, services, and repairs all of the charging stations that are going to have to go in for buses and for vehicles as well? So there's a whole array of infrastructure jobs, a whole array of maintenance and repair jobs that are going to have to come, and someone's got to teach our residents how to do those jobs. That's just one example of something that everybody sees coming, but we haven't talked about all the infrastructure and human capital that needs to be put in place behind that.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Kazan.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Alder Young, you're next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just want to express gratitude for William Martin and his leadership on this issue. Mr. Martin also serves as a commissioner on the Transit Commission between the City of Racine and Mount Pleasant. And my comments are twofold. Number one, a request for, as this research continues to go underway, to hear periodic updates as a member of the Transit Commission. And I know that as Commissioner Martin is also there, he would probably be willing to share a few thoughts about that. And then just gratitude for seeing the big picture when it comes to transportation. You know, too often people think transit is just a means to get from point A to point B, but really it's about lifestyle. Really it's about economic opportunity. Really it's about creating an economic base. And so this is just one project, one endeavor that really encompasses what the city's attitude should be when we're talking about transportation infrastructure, transportation manufacturing, and sustainability. So I just want to thank Mr. Martin for his leadership on this issue.
Okay, I don't know if Mr. Martin has a response, but thank you, Alder
Just
Young.
grateful for the opportunity to have worked with the city, and this is my first time seeing the alders since, so I'm grateful, and I'm really looking forward to all of this blossoming, to people continuing to come back to the city to see more innovation implemented.
Okay, thank you so much. So going back to the item, is there a motion at this time?
Move to approve.
Okay, great. Moved by Alder Young. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Tate the second. And so is there any further discussion on the item at this time? I don't see any. So please sorry, vote as you wish.
Aye.
All right. All in favor. Great. All opposed. Great. Okay. I had a feeling that was how it was going to go. Okay. Next item then is, thank you, Mr. Martin, for coming and being with us. Next item then is item 66-21.
We have a communication sponsored by Alder Taft from the City Attorney and the Human Resources Director submitting the Racine Professional Employees Association 2021 Collective Bargaining Agreement for consideration. Staff recommendation of the Finance and Personnel Committee would be to approve the Racine Professional Employees Association 2021 Collective Bargaining Agreement for consideration. Fiscal note is 1% annual 2021 increase is the same as all non-represented employees. Anticipated additional cost of $30,752 is included in the 2021 adopted budget. And then we have Scott Letney here to speak on the item. Attorney Scott, City Attorney.
Okay, Mr. Letney, Attorney Letney, you are recognized at this time.
Thank you, ma'am. The Racine Professional Employees Association is the only bargaining unit the city has left that isn't made up of police officers or firefighters. They are what is known as general municipal employees. Under the law, if there is a union made up of general municipal employees, the contract must be for 1 year and 1 year only, and the union is only permitted to bargain total base wages. Everything else, it's by city policy, so it's covered by the employee handbook. And this year, the Common Council approved 1% pay increase for non-represented employees. That's what the tentative agreement would be with the Racine Professional Employees Association. It's already been budgeted. By the way, the RPEA is made up of, well, professional employees. So it's accountants and engineers and some librarians and a couple of attorneys and paralegal and people like that generally. IT has a couple, so there's folks like that. So we do recommend approval. As I say, it's already covered by the budget, so there wouldn't be any unbudgeted cost.
Thank you, Attorney Letney. Does anybody have any comments or questions for Attorney Letney at this time? Okay, I don't see any, so a motion would be in order.
Move to approve.
By Alder Tate.
Second.
Second by Alder West. Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion on this item? Okay, none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, it would appear motion carries. Thank you, everyone. So let's see. I believe that exhausts our agenda for this evening, but I'm going to double check. It does. So I am going to declare us adjourned and thank everybody for their time.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you,
Good night,
Madam Chair.
everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Have a great night.